Maybe too spooky. Hello. Welcome. I was just in like a jazzy NPR mood because of that music. Welcome to the American Comedy Institute's stand-up comedy workshop show, the online edition. Let me desmudge. Okay, that's a little bit better. Welcome, wherever you are, you're about to see a pretty awesome half-hour show of really great comics, and we are performing from different places, all of us, not just different rooms in the same house, literally different states coming together tonight for ACI. Now, students who have trained at the American Comedy Institute have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, stand-up comedy clubs all over the country, all over the world. They've even been on Conan O'Brien, Saturday Night Live. The list goes on, doing so many awesome things. And actually, the comics you're going to see tonight trained with Becky Viduccio in the most recent iteration of ACI's monthly online workshops, which I'll tell you more about later on. I'm Michaela. I'm your host. And I'm really, really excited that it is officially sweater season. I'm trying to decide what to be for Halloween. It's coming up. And ultimately, if I can't think of anything, I'll go as who I dress up as every day, the hottest possible version of Rosie O'Donnell. You can't see, but I really bring the hot Rosie when I go out. It's fun. I'm a New York City tour guide, so I've been really busy over the summer. And I actually went to a tour guide meeting. Yes, we gather, we find out which one of us knows the least about Edith Wharton, and then we kill them. It's so fun. It's a great gathering. New York City tour guides actually fall into a few distinct categories. I'd say about 65% are very sophisticated and educated gay married men. And then the other, like 30%, are city witches. These are the old women who shop at Gristedes. None of their beverages are in their original containers. They're very thrifty when it comes to that. And they walk 40,000 steps a day, but they can't stand up. You know these women. Oh my gosh, what a treat. I just imagine them hunched over a cauldron in their apartment, double toil and trouble with a pigeon feather, hot deli coffee and a pinch of asbestos, and poof, 1,000-year lease in Greenwich Village for $30 a month. That must be how it's done. The other 5% of people in the tour guide union are city witches in training, like me. The training's been really fun thus far. You just kind of hobble around the city, and whenever someone asks you a question, you say, "This city was built on dead people." And you just give a lot of facts about that. And it seems to be working for me. I really enjoy my job there. It's a great time. I'm also a little bit nervous this evening because I'm performing to you from my basement. Yes, I live in New York and I have a basement. Sounds fun, right? Not when it fills with water, which likes to happen every now and then. It's also been raining for a few days here in New York, so I am sitting in a canoe right now. You can't see, but I'm in a canoe. It's been interesting having a duplex, so much space. No way out of the lease, though. 2 ways out of the basement. We are safe, but we are absolutely trapped in this lease. It's not my dream apartment. I'd say my dream apartment would be above Magnolia Bakery, say. That would be ideal. Not just because of the Midtown location, because I imagine I'd be friends with everyone who works downstairs, and they would give me the most deformed cupcakes, which were still delicious, I'm sure. That's what I'm looking for on Street Easy. Please list the nearest bakeries in addition to the nearest subway stops. I'm going to bring up your first of several wonderful comedians this evening. Now, this person is performing all the way from, honestly, the farthest away, all the way from San Diego, California. He made his second performance at Gotham Comedy Club the other night, and he's here for you this evening. So please give it up for Michael Cohen.
Hey everyone, I'm a lawyer and I've recently started dating. It's weird being a lawyer on dating apps. Women ask so many questions. I'm the one who usually interrogates people. Like I went on this one date, she was like, "How much do you make? Do you own a vacation home? Any kids? Well, what kind of lawyer are you?" I said, "The kind that charges by the question." I did meet a sweet woman, and during the video deposition, Zoom date, she questioned if we were a match. She said, "I'm just a simple preschool teacher. All I do is spend my day negotiating behavior and resolving arguments." And I'm like, "That's what I do. I'm a lawyer." I have an 8-year-old son. Sometimes I worry I'm sending him the wrong messages about how to succeed. He sees me running my law firm and then doing stand-up. And he asked if I talk about him on stage. And I said, "Of course I do, honey." He said, "Oh, that's awesome, Daddy. Am I getting residuals?" Oh, by the way, your check's in the mail. He asked me about tonight, and I said I was a little nervous. And he says, "Dad, why don't you just hire people to laugh?" I'm like, "That's sweet, honey. It doesn't work that way." You know, that's a great joke, but actually the tagline is, "Now your check's in the mail." In the middle of all this, I got a call and he overheard me making a date. He said, he asked me, "Dad, what's the difference between like online dating like you do and carbon dating?" And so I told him at my age, they're similar. They both involve determining whether you're with a fossil. You know, the pandemic was tough on kids. I asked my son, "How will you explain this time to your children?" He said, "Well, we couldn't go outside. We cut our own hair, and the grown-ups fought over toilet paper." He's pretty precocious. You know, when I was in his age, I was in Hebrew school, and I didn't understand some of the commandments in the Torah. Like even the first one, when God tells Noah, "Be fruitful and multiply." And I'm like, I don't know how to multiply. I'm in kindergarten. In 5th grade, I read this ancient code of Jewish laws, and it said that expelling your semen in vain is like killing a man. So one morning, I'm 13, I wake up and I think, oh my God, I just had a wet dream. Did I commit spermicide? I was worried. So I asked my mom, who's a doctor, and she said, "Don't worry, honey. Sometimes males ejaculate at night. It's because of their testosterone." And I was so relieved. I was like, I thought it was because of my math teacher's boobs. So then I asked my mom, "Where do babies come from?" She said, "Babies come from a slit inside a woman's leg." So I wondered, which leg is it? I spent the next 5 years trying to find that slip. And my friends at school confused me even more. One of them showed me a centerfold and said, check out that beaver. And I'm thinking, wow, they have a slip and they have a beaver? I mean, I knew boys and girls were different, but that different? Well, being a doctor, my mom worries about what could go wrong in the body. So we went out for Indian food and she's like, this food is so spicy, it could kill me. I said, I don't think that's possible, Mom. You never read an obituary that says cause of death, chicken vindaloo. You know, I've never cheated in anything in my life. Well, except my colonoscopy prep. I was so afraid the doc would find out that I skipped the last liter of prep. Actually, I didn't skip it. I replaced it with a double cheeseburger. That colonoscopy reminded me of the bar exam. The prep was insane. And right when I did it, I shit myself. Last year, I ended up in the hospital with some kidney issues, and I was in so much pain. I was howling like a dying animal. The nurse on duty burst in and screamed, shut up, Wolfman. Well, it turns out she was the one changing catheters that day. I wanted to tell her, hey, I have a law degree and I've taught medical ethics. But instead, all I said was, more lidocaine, please. As she shoved the tube in deeper, she barked, anything else you'd like to order? I said, how about some chicken vindaloo? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Michael Cohen. Michael, I can't get the image of fifth grade you reading a very dense Hebrew text out of my head. That's adorable.
That was me.
My only comparison would be me. Did you guys ever read those books called Egyptology? That it felt like a religious text, but you actually bought it at like a Walt Disney World gift shop. This is something specific to my life. No worries. I'm gonna bring your next comic up to the screen. Now she is performing all the way from Des Moines, Iowa, and we're so glad to have her on tonight. She is a delight. You'll love her. Please give it up for Lisa Rossi.
Hi, good news. I took my beauty vitamins today. Yay. They're supposed to give me nicer hair and nails and younger looking skin. Thanks, men who make vitamins. What I need is a vitamin that makes me look less like Kristen Wiig with an opioid addiction. So I've been making mom friends. It's weird making mom friends lately because you meet the kid first and then you put them in their contacts under the kid's name. Like I have this mom friend, her name is Jamie's mom, and she's married to Jamie's dad, but sometimes she flirts with Braden's dad. Sometimes I put people under my contacts, like under a general description. Like I was at Trader Joe's the other day and I saw Beer Gut Dad and I felt really bad because I forgot his name and I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh, hey, you, hey. And he's like, oh, you, hey, alcoholic minivan Barbie. So I'm married, and I feel like when you get married, you lose a bit of your identity. Like people used to want to know about me. Now they want to know all about my husband. This mom friend the other day was like, so what does your husband do? And I go, what does he do? He eats his sandwiches on the toilet. But what you really want to know is how much he makes. And what's that all about? Like nobody ever asked me, what did my roommate do? Like, what does your roommate do? Like, oh, like every time I leave the house, she fucks my boyfriend, Jesse. So I was talking to a guy friend the other day about most embarrassing moments. And he was like, oh yeah, like my credit card got declined at Whole Foods. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. And he's like, what's yours? And I say, I gave birth on all fours. But that credit card thing, that sounds really rough. So something weird that's going on in my life right now is my husband and I have couple friends. And our best couple friend, there's this guy named Bob. And Bob is my ex-boyfriend. And my husband knows, but we're not sure if Bob's wife knows. And she and I were close. Like we've talked about everything, like childcare struggles, money, tensions with their parents, but like never have we discussed the fact that Bob's dick has been in my mouth. Yeah. So, good news. This last Sunday, I smoked my first pot. Yay. You know, you are a mom smoking your first pot when your first thought is, oh, geez, this is good. I wonder if they sell this in bulk at Costco. And then your next thought is there something wrong with my face? Do I look like I'm judging people right now? Do I have resting Karen face? Oh my God. I decided I don't like pot that much, and I'm just going to do it when I'm getting peer pressure to do it or when it's a really special occasion, just like how I approach sex with my husband. Recently, it was snack time at my house, and my little son was having Dippin' Dots. And one of the little Dippin' Dots fell on the floor, and he goes, "Damn it." And I was like, "Jacob, that will be $1 for the swear jar." I don't know what it is with my kids, but they just feel like they can say whatever the fuck they want. I don't know where they get it. Thank you so much. I'm Lisa Rossi.
Yeah, Lisa Rossi. Lisa Dippin' Dots. I'm gonna be thinking about those the rest of the show. That is so good. I went to an aquarium like a few months ago, and I'm like, no matter what happens at this aquarium, I will find Dippin' Dots for some reason. And I did. They were there. Okay. Go to an aquarium near you for Dippin' Dots. Your next comic. My in-between comics things are very strange today. This is a weird day. I think I'm anxious about the flooding. We're going to be fine. I'm going to bring your next comic up to the screen. She's a dear friend of mine, all the way from New Jersey, which is, according to my background, maybe where I am right now. This is the very funny Megan Sweet.
Oh, so in college, my mom called me to let me know that my stepdad discovered that he's an animal psychic. I did not see that coming. Guess I don't have the gift. The weird part of it is, though, they never called me. So in the awkward silence that followed, I was thinking maybe he can communicate with some messenger pigeons to send me some ramen noodles. You know what I mean? That'd be nice. And then later that day, I was thinking, did this happen around me? And I'm trying to think of memories. And there was one time that a bee started flying towards me. And I started swatting, and he said, "Megan, stop. That bee is trying to tell you it wants to be your friend." I thought he was kidding. But look, I don't judge. I think it's cool. Animals Can Speak is the name of the book he wrote. A practical how-to guide to telepathically communicate with animals, even ones that have passed on. And when I received my autographed copy, I realized it was the first time I would ever read a book through the eyes of an author that I know. And let me tell you, if you think the bee story was interesting, wait till you read the one about the spider. I just read a news article about this guy who has an emotional support alligator. Things are that bad out there that people are turning to cold-blooded reptiles for emotional support. I mean, I guess it makes sense in these political times. We've all seen those flags, you know, the ones I'm talking about. And then I realized that I too have an emotional support alligator, my husband. He's always stomping around, emotionally eating. He likes to be alone, and he grunts really loud during mating season. Actually, I realized that he's a teenage alligator right now. We just moved into his childhood home, and he's been very moody. He goes up into his cave and plays The Cure all the time. And it's so weird. I realize I'm living with my husband's teenage self in the house that he was a teenager in. And this is a very strange feeling. I'm sure you can relate. Anyway, when I was in high school, a couple of boys started making fun of me for having small breasts. And I went out immediately and got a push-up bra, because when those boys went low, I go high. It didn't work. Then I started my own chapter of the Small Breast Club. Unfortunately, no one else joined, but that meant I had the biggest breasts in the club. So let's just say I had a little extra spring in my step. I had t-shirts made with great sayings like, "Stop staring at my eyes. The magic is down here." They were great shirts. Too bad no one ever read them. My entire family has irritable bowels, except for me, of course. But their bowels are not just irritable, they're enraged and flaming. And I think it's because they don't ever talk about their feelings. They just stuff them down. And if you didn't know, IBS is a side effect of stuffing down your feelings. On Christmas, everybody in my family gets Gas X in their stockings. Even Santa knows. But I think it'd be really cool if doctors could discover stuff down feelings on x-rays. Wouldn't that be cool? I picture Barbara, 52, always says she's fine. Suddenly she has severe gut problems and flatulence, which she refers to as the wind. Goes into the doctor and he's like, "Barbara, we do have your x-ray. We have it right here. And I do have to tell you, we've been having some difficulty. Your abdominal cavity seems to be covered with what looks like a very large cloud of resentment. And if you look really close down here, you'll see this pocket under your intestine. Barbara, that's filled to the brim with anger. And studies show that anger and resentment do tend to bind together, which could be causing your excessive wind." Listen, it's not easy to get help for IBS. It takes guts. So I organized an awareness walk. I did all the research, crunched all the numbers, got all the right sponsors. I even mapped out all the porta potties in the area. And the day the big walk came, everybody got the runs. I have 2 sons, and I feel like I learned from my family that I don't want them to have stuffed down feelings or anxiety. So I want to show them things that will help them right away. Like right when the pandemic started, I sat them down and I showed them the Golden Girls because they always helped me with everything. Now I've got 2 sass-mouthed, horny sons that are always eating my cheesecake. That backfired. But just take some advice from me. I'm a pro. Don't try to hide your anxiety. Don't do it, because if you do, other people's therapy dogs and alligators are going to sniff you out. They all know. So take care of yourself. Bye.
Megan, that was awesome, Megan. Megan, I gotta tell you, you're really onto something with this whole being able to perceive stuff down emotions. I'm starting to think that might be where boobs come from in the first place, because my double D's are for sure depression and defeatism right here. That's where they've launched.
Oh my
them
God.
from.
That means mine are just being totally normal all the
You
time.
let your emotions
because nothing
out.
has come out.
I swear.
I'm going to let loose. I'm letting loose.
That's right.
I'm going to be like an F.
That's so great. You're going to need assistance with your boobs.
I'll
Your
call you.
last comment coming to the screen. We love him very much. All the way from Chicago, Illinois. This is Kyle Parker.
I know. I look like Nicolas Cage before all the Lexapro. My wife and I got married 22 years ago. And in that time, we have 2 cats, 2 hamsters, 1 dog, and 5 kids. It's a busy house with a lot of mouths to feed. Is there anyone else here living with a lot of regret? Having 5 kids, it's safe to assume my wife likes sex. We're very passionate, especially in the beginning. Every time we'd have sex, she'd scream, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Oh, someone save me." Well, after all this time, she still says those words. The difference now, though, is she mumbles them to herself and walks around the house. "Jesus Christ. Oh my God, somebody save me. Oh, what the fuck happened to my life?" Last night, I said to her, "Honey, did you ever think we'd be together for 22 years? And she said, "To be honest, honey, I thought you'd be dead by now." My marriage is like my Audi convertible. After 300,000 miles, I can't afford it anymore. I think it's crazy for two people to be together for 22 years, though, right? I mean, after all this time, it's hard to be a couple anymore. It's more like we're siblings. I mean, my mom treats my wife like the daughter she never had. My wife calls my mom, mom. And just like a sister, she won't let me see her naked. And marriage is really tough. During the pandemic, no two human beings should spend that much time together. Last time I spent that much time with someone was with my best friend growing up. We went on a 1-week road trip and we haven't spoken since. Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing, it's really tough being named Kyle these days. It's a very white name and it's become the Karen of insurrectionists. And if you think that's bad, my wife's name is Karen. Instead of two suburban parents, it sounds more like we own a QAnon bookstore. I'm not even sure if our friends are our friends anymore, or they're just keeping us around in, in case of an emergency. Hey, honey, I think we probably should keep Kyle and Karen on our holiday card list this year. I know they're both incredibly annoying, but it's just too risky to dump them right now. I mean, hey, having if you're a bunch of progressives and you have a couple of QAnon people around you, it might be good protecciano. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kyle Parker. Oh, I don't know if the QAnon people, I know you gave them an Italian spin there. I don't feel like they'd fully appreciate a good gabagool, I feel like that's reserved for the mafia alone.
I agree.
That was our show. I love you guys who performed tonight. This was really fun. Thank you all for watching. Whenever you're watching this, whether it was during the show or beyond, if it was beyond, we're talking to you. Thank you so much. And we hope you join us for our next workshop starting October 11th. We do them every single month online. We have a live show at Gotham Comedy Club, and then we have our online show every month as well. So come on out. Go to comedyinstitute.com for any info and have an amazing rest of your week. We hope to see you soon.